Jai Shri Krishna, Narayan. As we focus ourselves yet again on the names of Lord Sri Hari, there are different steps in ascending order to fulfill our spiritual aspirations. It is indeed difficult for ones who have a physical body to focus on the impersonal or the unmanifest. And as Lord Sri Krishna has said in the Bhagavad Gita in 12.5, for those whose minds are attached to the unmanifest, the path of realization is full of tribulations. Worship of the unmanifest is exceedingly difficult for embodied beings. There are different grades of worship, if you will. And in ascending order, these go from Pratima Puja to Mansi Puja. It is indeed a matter of expanding your consciousness, as Pujya Sadguru Bhagwan told us yesterday. It is not only to restrict yourself to this body, which is just but a mold for it, but in fact outreaching far beyond it to expand your consciousness and to become whatever there is, be it in inert objects or in other living entities. Hence, in that sense, there is nothing but I, and therefore, there is no question of duality or others. Whatever there is, and in whatever form or shape, is all me. So, in Vedic philosophy, Soham means identifying oneself with the universe or the ultimate reality. And this is indeed the fundamental thrust of Advaita as well, that the Atma is pure and it's non-intentional in consciousness. It is one without a second, infinite, and identical with Brahma. Everything being an extension of me, and therefore, spiritual discipline and experience literally propagates non-secondness or non-dualism, as is generally known. And in experiencing the self, or the Atma Brahma, or the highest self, everything is known. The Jivatman, or the individual self, is merely a reflection and a limitation of the singular Atma in a multitude of apparently individual bodies in others. As Hanuman Bhagwan says in the Adhyatma Ramayana, from the point of view of the physical body, I am your servant, your das, but from a point of view of the individual soul, I am your part and parcel, and from a point of view of the super soul, I am but you, and this is my finite determination. So, again, in ascending order, there are 3 steps to worship. The first step is the Pratima Puja, the Archa Vigraha worship, where we focus ourselves on the idol of the Lord and onwards concentrate our minds on the vision of the Lord. That makes it easier for us to hone into the attributes of the Lord, as in Sarva Lakshana Lakshanya, as we saw yesterday, similar to the use of phonetics while speaking words which are difficult to hear or to understand. The second mode of worship is jap or stotra, and it is also second in terms of credibility, and this is essentially attained through the recitation of various couplets of poetry in the praise of the Lord, or chanting the name of the Lord in a reiterative manner. The third, and is far more superior than all of these, is Manasi Puja, or internal or mental worship of the deity on a supramental level. God, Sri Hari, is considered as the worshipper's own innermost spirit, and Mansi Puja, or internal worship, regards the body as but a medium for the deity to reside. And in this instance, even the external worship is a symbolic representation of internal worship. The last one, which Pujya Bhaishri touched upon even yesterday, as the first one, was the expanded consciousness. And that is indeed Soham, coming back, as discussed before, which departs from physical dimensions and attains the supranatural dimensions through Soham or Shivoham, and therefore Sarva Lakshana Lakshanya, worship differently and in different forms. So the first name now is 361, lakṣmīvān, easy to understand, the consort of Lakshmi, or as Lakshmi ever resides on the Vakshasthal or the chest of Sri Hari, hence lakṣmīvān. He is indeed the Purush that energizes the entire world of Prakriti. Thus, the manifested Lord is ever wedded to Lakshmi. Now, Lakshmi, or the Prakriti, illumes everything, energizes everything, and therefore it is indeed impossible, in a manner of speaking, for Sri Hari to live without Lakshmi. He is Vyapak and omnipresent, and hence in constant union with Sri Lakshmi, as quizzed upon by the gopis in the Brahmar Geet 10:47-13. Even after making us drink the enchanting nectar of his lips only once, Sri Krishna has abandoned us, just as you might quickly abandon some flowers. How is it then that goddess Sri Lakshmi willingly serves his lotus feet? Lakshmi not only means wealth as we know it, but also various kinds of other wealth in terms of health is wealth, and the Shar Sampatti that we speak of in a sadhak, Gyan, Vairag, tranquility, and so on. These are all different types of wealth, and these have already been attributed in earlier names of Lord Sri Hari. Name number 362, samitiñjaya, which means samiti as a word has a few meanings. It means also battle, so samitiñjaya meaning ever victorious in battle. And we find in our scriptures the Lord winning all the battles with unrighteous forces. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord in 8:7 talks about tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara yudhyacha. Therefore, Arjun, you should always think of me and at the same time carry out your prescribed duty of fighting. He's also called Ajit, which is always victorious. And as in the motto, the national motto, Satyame Vijayate, which is from Mundaka Upanishad in Khand 3, part 1, he is also pronounced as ever victorious because he is Satya, and hence Satyame Vijayate. Truth alone wins, not falsehood, and by truth the path of the Devas is widened, which the seers travel upon. Samiti also means committee or a council of people, and hence he is always at the center of attention of all gatherings, whether silent or verbatim, always victorious through his wisdom, his strength, as relevant to those surroundings. Similar to the dialogue that he has had with King Vali at the end of his life, he has emerged victorious in all debates, so to speak. Even then so, he is always losing with his ever-beloved gopis, and he loses at will to the supreme love of the gopis. The Rig Veda also states that without his win, the people or the populace cannot win. The next name is vikṣara. Stanza 40, vikṣaro rohito mārgo hetur damodara saha maidharo mahabhago vegavān amitāshanaha. Vikṣara, shara means decaying or perishable, or that which is perishing. And so vikṣara, akshara, means imperishable. Therefore, the Lord, the Self, is the subject and is therefore ever unchanging and always imperishable. The Bhagavad Gita has a few shlokas on this name. In the first instance, in 15:6, Dvau imau purusho loke sharas chakshara evacha. Now, in this instance, in 15:16, Lord Sri Krishna is talking about two classes of beings, the fallible and the infallible. Now, in the material world, every living entity is fallible, and in the spiritual world, every entity is infallible. Also in 15:18, in the Yoga of the Supreme Person, he says, Yasmat sharam atitoham akshāradapi chottama. which is I am beyond this. I am transcendental. I am beyond both fallible and infallible, and therefore I am the greatest. And I'm celebrated both in the Vedas and in the world as the Supreme Person, Pratita Purushottama. And so, no one can surpass the Supreme Personality of the Godhead or Sri Hari, and he is the greatest of all personalities. Hence, Shara, Akshara, and Vikṣara, which is undecaying Vikṣara. Name number 364, rohita. Now, this has again a few meanings. It is the sun, the fire, the fish, or red-hued. These are all different meanings of the word rohit. Now, one of the meanings is that it refers to his red-hued forms, lohita, we discussed this yesterday, like the iron, red like the iron, which he assumes at will, or also as a fish. Rohita is also referred to as a freshwater fish, so therefore his incarnation as the Matsya avatar. We have discussed the Matsya avatar at length in the last Vishnu Sahasranam series, in the story of Matsya avatar and King Satyavrat Manu. But just to recap, the Matsya avatar parable relates back to the discussion also of the Kundali Jagran, or the awakening of the 6 chakras that are within the human body. 7. And these 7 main chakras are situated along the spine, from the base of the spine to the crown of the head. And starting with the root chakra or the Mooladhara, which is at the base of the spine, there is the sacral chakra or Swadhisthana, solar plexus chakra or Manipurak, heart chakra, throat, third eye, and the crown chakra, which is the Sahasrara. The first 5 chakras are associated with the physical elements of earth, water, fire, air, and ether or space, respectively. And the last 2 chakras are thought to connect us beyond the earthly realm, so they are associated with the elements of light and cosmic energy, respectively, and are beyond the realm of the words. Now, for those who are more interested in this topic, please refer back to the Nageshwar Katha. But similar to the different containers that the fish in the Matsya avatar is talked about, our prana also finds its residence in the elevation and the concurrent expansion of consciousness in the different chakras in our body. These are also linked back to the 9 forms of Navdurga, Shailaputri, Brahmacharini, and so on. Now, in the Pranmaya Kosh, or the energy body, there are 72,000 nadis, and there are 3 basic ones, the Ida, Pingla, and the Shushumna. Now, these are just but channels of pran within our system, and the Ida and the Pingla represent the basic duality of existence, or the Shiv-Shakti element, and the Shushumna nadi, which connects the Mooladhara chakra to the 7th Sahasrara chakra, is the path for the ascent of the Kundalini energy up from the base of the spine to the crown of the head, and is considered to be the central channel for the flow of prana through the body. This has been related in the analogy of the Shivalaya on Yog Divas and in various other pravachans by Pujya Sadguru Bhagwan, so we will not spend too much time on it. But the onset of the soul is through the crown, and this is the very reason that the Shivling is lowered through the crown of the temple of the roof. And if the onset of pran and the exit of pran coincides through the crown, then it is sure to result in mukti, or liberation from desires and from consequent rebirth. The Matsya avatar's reference to pralaya, or the world being swallowed up in the deluge of the waters, refers back also to the 4 types of pralaya. We have also discussed this earlier, and it is an analogy to our own state of ignorance and unconsciousness, and our attempt to go from unconscious incompetence to unconscious competence. And this is done with the help of the Guru, who helps our evolution from state to state. The next name, mārga. This is simple to understand, the path, but he is not only the path, he is very many other things. Now, in order to realize the Supreme, we have to find a path to the Supreme. So he is the path and he is the goal. In short, he is the one whom seekers of the highest meditate upon in order to reach the Supreme. Therefore, the path, the mārga, and he is sought after by those who desire liberation. So he is the path for them, and he is through whom that path is obtained. So he is the search for the Supreme, and he is the Supreme himself, the means and the end, and the means to the end, the final destination as well. Therefore, the search for the path is the path itself, like the gopis in the Ras play, looking for clues in the form of footprints and flowers in Srimad Bhagavad 10:30-37, where they say, here we see the footprints of some gopi who must have been walking along with the son of Nand Maharaj. These are all but clues to find the Supreme. And the yogis find this path within themselves in order to find themselves. Hence, the search and the supreme realization itself. Name number 366, hetu, the cause. The one who is the cause for the entire universe, he is the once material cause, upadan karan, the instrumental cause, nimitta karan, and he is the abhinna nimitta upadan karan, which is the efficient cause and the material cause together in the creation of the universe. So, he is the material and instrumental cause, and he is the means of all the desired things. Now, as with causes, there is a specific cause and effect to all things, and this is spoken about again at length in the Bhagavad Gita, starting with 3:14, where we talk about annad bhavanti bhutani, which is all living beings subsist on food grains. Food grains are produced from rains. Rains are produced with the performance of yajna, and yajna is born out of prescribed duties. And by yajna, we don't only mean fire sacrifices, but we also mean all kinds of wealth in all forms. And then the regulated activities that are prescribed in the Vedas, and the Vedas are directly manifested from the Supreme, right? Consequently, all pervading transcendence is eternally situated in acts of sacrifice. These are all the causes or the linkages of one cause to one effect, leading to yet another cause, the karya karan. But he is the cause of all causes, right? And he is the Supreme Sri Hari, as in the Srimad Bhagavat 11:15-35. He says, Sarvasham api siddhanam hetu patir aham prabhu. My dear Uddhav, I am the cause, the protector, and the Lord of all mystic perfections of the yoga system, of analytical knowledge, of pure activity, and of the community of learned Vedic teachers, hence hetu. With that, we close today's translation. Sahaviryam karvavahe. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Narayan. Jai Shri Krishna.